There we go. Hey guys, this is Justin, and I want to talk to you really quickly about what separates my company, hundreds of customers, from everyone else out there. And it's what I like to call the rank first, pay later approach. I've been doing SEO for 10 years. In fact, this March celebrates my 10-year anniversary of being in business for myself. And so I'm going to change the way I do things right now, and I'm going to change it in a way that's going to be utterly different from how almost anybody else does this business. Normally, with SEO, it is a very expensive game, and you're usually looking at a 6 to 9 month investment minimum, oftentimes more like a year to 18 months, and you're paying anywhere from $3,000, $5,000, even $10,000. My average client right now pays over $10,000 a month for SEO because they want to get their law firm on page one of Google in a major metropolitan city, right? And that is expensive. It does take time. It does take work. However, what I do for all of my clients, and you can actually read a lot of the testimonials down there in the corner, is I like to start by getting them on page one basically overnight. You might ask, how is that possible and why isn't everybody doing it if you can do it so well and so easily? Well, I do things a little bit differently from how most other people do SEO. See, years ago, I stumbled upon something that I kind of figured out by accident. I was looking at my clients, I was thinking about Google, and I realized that one of the things Google does, one of the things Google really likes to do, is to show people trusted entities. They like brands. They like things that are vetted, things that take a while to build. And so, if you think about the major companies out there, your Nikes, your Adidas, your Coca Colas, etc., well, obviously they're always running ads and whatnot, and they get a lot of brand mentions. But one of the other things that they do a lot is they get in the news a lot. And I started to think about that, and I figured out that maybe what I need to do for some of my clients, especially the clients that I'm having a hard time getting on page one of Google, is maybe I should start to make them look more like one of the big brands. Purchase a little advertising here and there, sure, but get them into the news. And so I started to work with a small and ever growing network of news organizations. And I started running media campaigns for my clients. And my hope was this would kind of help get them out of the Google sandbox. Google would see them as a trusted entity and it would move them up. They get lots of ranks to their or links to their website. It would help them, move up in the rankings. And it did. It definitely did that. But I was actually really surprised when a couple of days after running a media campaign for a client, I was doing just some basic searching to see if I could find where they were in the search results. And I realized that while they were on page two, there were not one, but two different news stories that I had run about them on page one of Google. And I started looking for various permutations of the search phrase and paired it up with the various cities and areas that we were looking at. And I kept finding over and over and over again, my news partners were ranking on page one for the client. And ever since then, I've changed the strategy that I've done to always, always, always incorporate a very news forward, news heavy, news first approach for my clients. And at this point, I offer a guarantee to anyone who uses my service that if they pay for my service and I don't get them on page one in under a week in some capacity, I will work for free until they get there. Well, I'm going to change things again. First off, most people don't do guaranteed SEO. But the reason I do that guarantee SEO is I know that I can get my clients on page one. But I can go a step further still. I can tell you that I'll get you on page one and you don't have to pay me anything until you've got presence on page one. Now, most SEO companies would never dream of making a promise like that. And the reason they wouldn't do it is they can't keep it up, right? They can't get you on page one. They definitely couldn't do it in a couple of months, and so doing a lot of work up front for a couple of months can be very, very, very expensive in the hopes that a client will get, on page one and decide to pay. But because I do things differently, because I work very differently, I can do that. And so here's my offer to you. It's celebrating my 10-year anniversary in business. I would like to offer to put you on page one of Google, and you don't have to pay me until I can show you that you are there. And only then do you pay. So it literally is risk-free SEO because you rank first and then you pay. If that sounds interesting to you, click the link below. It's either on this screen or down below this video, and book a time to talk with me. And let's see what we can do to get you on page one by this time next week. Sound good? I thought so. Take it easy.